Rooms near the entrance, you hear footsteps echo down a hall. An enormous silhouette appears in the doorway, and you prepare to run, only to realize the room only has one exit. You resort to fighting them.
Okay, what you got?
He's just standing there, menacingly.
Minecraft is a franchise that has gone through numerous changes. You might remember during lockdown all the way back in 2020, the game had a huge resurgence. If you heard of either Helluva Hazbin Hotel, or had hair color that resembled an RGB keyboard, you probably watched some of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers at the time. It started off with PewDiePie doing a Minecraft series. And then Dream tried to work out what PewDiePie's world seed was, and that spawned this whole horde of creators that started their own SMP. You had Dream, Quackity, Tommy in it, probably about 20,000 other side characters. It was basically Minecraft at its peak. And a lot has happened with the game. Like, for example, Mojang, or Mojang, I don't know how you say it, but they basically sold off Minecraft to Microsoft, and they have been slowly killing the game and somehow adding even less content than Mojang ever did. But Minecraft recently actually posted a tweet promoting an in-game interactive civil rights DLC. And to be expected, because they posted it on Twitter and everybody hates everything on there, it's being absolutely trashed. They've made official Minecraft versions of real-life activists, like, for example, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and they even built a Minecraft bus with Rosa Parks in it. Now, this seems like a really good and noble cause, right? Being able to teach people about history, how we can learn to do better. The thing is, I'm not really sure why you would use Minecraft as a medium there, let alone posting it on Twitter, expecting good things to happen. They basically posted this tweet here saying, you know, you want to change the world in real life, start in Minecraft. Basically implying that if you see Rosa Parks in the back of a bus in Minecraft, that's going to turn you into like some kind of political activist. Now, they've titled it Lessons in Good Trouble, and this actually references civil American rights activist John Lewis's motto of good trouble, which he used to refer to non-violent protests. And they're promoting it as free DLC. Again, like, every day I do think how we are closer and closer to a Black Mirror episode, that you had historical moments like Nelson Mandela, like Rosa Parks, basically standing up for black people, only to then be put as Minecraft DLC. Wow. Now, again, before I get into this, I'm not Hassan, where I pull up someone in chat and get stun locked for 30 minutes. I'm not Asmongold, where I just raise my eyebrows slightly and say, sure, like the person in the video is in the room with me. I'm not going to make this political, but it's very obvious that like profit margins and trying to look better as a company have came first, and then actual rights and the messages behind those rights have came second. And also, there is something really horribly ironic and just terrible that these events have basically been whittled down into DLC. Oh yeah, guys. Yo, does anyone want the Rosa Parks Battle Pass, guys? I mean, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not mocking these events at all, right? But like, a great example is Fortnite. I think had like a Black History Month or something where they would play Martin Luther King on projectors, and then people were just spamming rotten fruit and like throwing it at the TVs. That actually happened, by the way.
People wouldn't stop throwing.
There was like a Rosa Parks battle so out of touch, I would genuinely...
People wouldn't stop throwing tomatoes.
These companies are so out of touch, I would genuinely not be surprised if there was like a Rosa Parks Battle Bus skin for Fortnite. Now, the description of their website seems, you know, innocent enough. Discover the meaning of good trouble by bringing civil rights movements to life in this powerful educational experience. Step into watershed moments, march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and John Lewis, stand up for girls' education with Malala Yousafzai, and join Nelson Mandela's fight against the apartheid. Learn how everyone has the power to stand up for what's right. Again, I probably have butchered some of those names. I've had a bit of a Metro's Booming moment. I'm just going to blame it on my accent at the minute, because when I say water, I don't even enunciate the T. I just say water. Now, this website also includes a minute-long trailer that they've posted onto YouTube.
What does it mean to get into good trouble?
Take your students on an interactive journey to learn firsthand how leaders around the world fought for justice and human rights.
Now, again, the message behind it is really good. Teaching people about, these horrible events that helped us hopefully become better, become closer together. But I never thought I would be living in a world where you see Mahatma Gandhi's player name above a Minecraft avatar and you're meant to take that 100% seriously.
Begin on the Edmund Pettus Bridge and march with John Lewis for voting rights. Then travel through history to meet some of his inspirations. Help Mahatma Gandhi spread his message for independence in India.
Again, they're really trying here. They're trying to spread a positive message, teach people about things, probably trying to raise their investment scores as well on the side. Again, you're trying to interact with the Minecraft fan base. People that have grown up now with Minecraft during lockdown, they were laughing their ass off at a British kid dabbing.
How do you have 130,000 viewers? Don't worry, one of those viewers is your mother.
And join forces with Rosa Parks, who sparked the civil rights movement that Lewis carried forward.
It's just, why did you recreate the bus in Minecraft? I'm so conflicted. There's obviously a really good message here, but how are you going to take any of this seriously, recreating it in Minecraft? Look, okay, I want to be contrarian here. I want to be supportive of Microsoft, my billionaire overlords. I get it, because again, people are not educating themselves. Most boomers now, they fearmonger and just watch TV where they just complain about the most alt party stuff. And then Zoomers probably just get their TikTok newsreel from Dylan Page, who's too busy sucking off KSI or making his 5th video of the day saying how he's quitting TikTok, guys. I get it, okay? It is hard to get actual news that isn't just quick headlines, and then to actually take a look back into the past and then analyze, what did we do wrong? How can we do better here? But this just feels incredibly out of touch, that there is no jump between the really rich, old Norwood 7 billionaire CEOs in a boardroom talking about this and then implementing it into Minecraft. It doesn't feel like they've actually tried to organically implement it. It just feels like they just tick the box. Oh yeah, diversity. Yes. Also, I do want to say, by the way, is it just me or the Minecraft edge? Is that Among Us? That is Among Us on the bookshelf, right? Now, I do want to say as well, this isn't something that's forced down people's throats. This isn't a mandatory thing that everyone has to experience. It's a completely optional free DLC, even though, again, referring to loads of activism throughout history and calling it DLC, again, there's something really out of touch to that. But, it's optional. If anything, again, I'm going to sound out of touch doing this. It sounds like Peak, when Peak had that BB No Money DLC, and it's almost like the developers knew that not a lot of people cared about BB No Money, and they basically even prefaced and said, it's optional, guys, you don't have to do it, don't worry. Did I just compare BB No Money to systemic racism? Yes, because they're both being treated as DLC to a game. Now, Minecraft probably thought they were making an innocent little post, it's it's DLC, it's optional, we're not putting it in your face, guys. It doesn't matter, because again, everyone on Twitter absolutely despises each other. So the tweet got about 25 million views and it was just memed immediately. People already quote tweeting it, for example, with the Epstein Island DLC. In the free Vacation Island DLC, subverting global democracies, meet politicians and key decision makers, and learn how to manipulate, blackmail, and control the world. And the worst thing about this as well, this DLC, which seems to be promoting a pretty good message, it's not new. It's been out for about a year, but the fact that they posted it on Twitter, they opened the floodgates. For example, people tweeting, send Rosa Parks to the back of the minecart, or when my minecart gets stuck in traffic because a horde of villagers are protesting an iron golem killing a baby zombie. Now, the problem is, you've just opened up the floodgates to pretty much every single edgy 14-year-old in existence by adding this into the most popular video game ever made. People have even been saying the exact same thing. This guy, you just gave napalm to edgy 14-year-olds. I mean, there was even this XQC clip which shows why this was a mistake. He scrolls down reacting to this tweet, and then the first reply is footage of what it looks like a Minecraft slavery mod.
In the free Good the Troll DLC.
Eating popcorn.
Oh my, yo, I'm actually done. I'm generally done for the day.
I think the problem with situations like this, if you criticize this free DLC, I cannot believe I keep referring it to that. If you complain about it, you might get chalked up as someone who's just basically racist. But I think this is, it's a good idea, but oh my God, it's the worst way to implement it ever. To memorialize these real life people, by the way, and real life events, because it is just going to get memed on. You've seen how the internet works. Why do you think some of the biggest streamers on the planet right now are all on Kick? We live in a culture of outrage, clip farming, and rage baiting. And then you come out with, oh yeah, we put Nelson Mandela and Rosa Parks in Minecraft. Please don't make fun, guys. This actually happened. What do you expect? I mean, again, okay, all right. Look, I can understand the thought process of all the out-of-touch billionaires in the boardroom. You know, it's a kid's video game, right? You know, Tommy in it, dab, hilarious, laugh out loud. Now I'm going to do stand-up and talk about vapes for the 5th time. But, you know, let's try to help them learn about video games. But this is like a terrible medium for kids to learn about serious subjects. They are never going to take it seriously. I get it, you know, it's like I've seen studies of people in school, you know, college, uni, and how attention's going down. People's brains are absolutely fried off like nicotine or just like scrolling on their phone all the time. I get it. And they want to try a more engaging way to be able to capture people's attention. This is not the way to do it. You are just going to do the complete opposite. People will never take this seriously. Have you noticed as well the time frame between a serious event of like someone being killed or even like, you know, hundreds or thousands of people being killed? The window between taking it seriously and making fun of it is getting smaller and smaller on the internet. Like we've gone from basically waiting years to months to days to the same day. And again, like what I talked about earlier, the Fortnite Martin Luther King event from a while back, it was just an absolute disaster. So this was all the way back in November 2021. So there was a Fortnite event and it was called March Through Time, and it was meant to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. Now there was a short trailer for the event and it basically shows that they had a map based off Washington, DC. They had museum-like buildings showing some historical events, and then a big projector, you know, with the world famous I Have a Dream speech. And before I get into this as well, the biggest irony is someone left a comment on that trailer 4 years ago saying, honestly, at this point, I'm surprised these guys didn't show Rosa Parks driving that flying bus. And then 4 years later, what do we have? Rosa Parks in the bus, but now it's Minecraft. Now, Epic Games did try to actually have some restrictions here. Tim Sweeney, you know, got off Twitter and stopped crying about Gabe Newell for 5 seconds. And they actually turned off combat, which, you know, was a smart idea. Then they made the mistake of leaving emotes on. Now, this was a disaster. You had people doing like Fortnite dances during the speech, throwing tomatoes on the screens that were playing videos. And one of these screens, of course, included Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And then pretty much after the event started, Fortnite even posted on Twitter saying that they disabled emotes, which again was a smart decision. They should have just done that before the event started. I mean, Fortnite, if you've noticed now, have really cracked down on their emotes. I think there's like, you know, a dancing emote or something, and you can't even do it in proximity of like another skin in case you know, try to initiate some kind of like air humping next to them. Now, even though they said they disabled some emotes, apparently a few of them made it through the filters. One of them was Wonder Woman's emote. The emote was her cracking a whip. And of course, people caught onto this, they copied each other, and it's what people were spamming for the majority of the event. Apparently, they said that they couldn't disable that emote since it was part of like an ongoing DC Comics collaboration. So again, wow, look at that. Contracts and money actually overpower everything else in a billion-dollar company. Who would have guessed it? And the thing is, even if they somehow disabled that particular emote during it, you know, it's still ridiculous other things that happen, like seeing Rick Sanchez raise the roof during a Martin Luther King speech.
For little children, one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Now, again, I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened and the situation would have been taken more seriously. But, you know, Tim, he's got a very busy day. It's 23 hours stalking Gabe Newell and then 1 hour probably doing some work. Now, to be fair, in the trailer for this Minecraft DLC, it is pretty clear that it was made primarily to be used in schools through their Minecraft education platform. Because, again, like kids' brains now are so rotted, they could not possibly ever read a book. I mean, nowadays, if you read a book, you're chalked up as a performative male. So, you know, it's a dying group of people, and they're obviously trying to use video games as a medium to try to educate people through that. But they also made it so it wasn't just schools that could download it, anyone could, and then promoting it on Twitter. So what's the moral of this story? Never post anything on Twitter. Don't do it. Don't do it. Honestly, unless you're one of those gimmick accounts and you make like $50 a month, don't do it.
Also be listing it for $5 million.
You got the funds?
He fell off.
Logan Paul's a very interesting character because despite having numerous controversies, he always seems to bounce back. Him and KSI own 20% shares in the Prime Drink Company, which a couple of years ago was being sold in every single supermarket, dragging poor parents out at 5 in the morning so their kids could buy a bottle, drink it, and then flex about it on Snapchat. Now, Logan was always the biggest person. We really haven't been in 2026 that long, less than a month, and we already have what is probably going to be one of the biggest floppers of this year. It's basically Concord 2.0, and that is High Guard. Now, if you've looked at the reviews of High Guard, they're not very positive. Actually, at the minute, they're overwhelmingly negative. Hundreds of people just seem to be quitting mid-match when it's not going the way that they want it to. I even had this happen to me on stream. On top of that as well, the streamers, you know, the people that are promoting the game that hopefully get people to buy into it, they're struggling as well to even use the controls.
Dude, it's so hard to aim. It's so hard to aim. Like, it's so hard to aim. I might actually need to load up a controller. It's insane.
And then on top of all of this, you had Dr. Disrespect apparently lying about being invited to the launch event.
What's there to gain by lying about getting credentials for the launch event? I don't understand. Got him.
And of course, Jeff Keighley is just coping endlessly on Twitter. Like, for example, how Jeff posted this Polygon article saying, High Guard isn't dead on arrival. In fact, after 4 hours, I'm convinced it's one of the best shooters in years. Polygon, by the way, the same platform that also had that amazing Doom 2016 gameplay. Now, to be a bit of a contrarian, I have put a lot of hours into High Guard. The game isn't good, but at the same time, it basically never had a chance in the first place. Because as we know, it was announced at the end of the Game Awards, and a lot of people thought, could this be GTA 6? Could it even be the fabled Half-Life 3? And then instead we got a game that no one knew about beforehand, and it was yet another PvP hero shooter. And I think that's one of the problems with High Guard. It doesn't build on anything that didn't already exist. It tries to be CSGO with, for example, planting bombs on sites. It tries to almost be 6 Siege with reinforcing walls that don't do anything. But then it also tries to be Rust with like destructible bases, when in reality it's only a select amount of walls. You can't exactly knock down foundations or anything like that. But then it's also really confusing because if you go up to like a tree, for example, in the game world, and you hit it with an axe, the detail is really, really good, to the point that it's almost like this was meant to be an entirely different game at some point. Like, even the trees fall over and stuff, like you're playing The Forest. And I know The Forest is like jank heaven. It's like one of the most janky games out there, but still, it almost feels like it tried to be something different at one point, and then they just put a new coat of paint over it and then labeled it as an entirely different game. Now, one of the worst things about any kind of launch with these games is the queue, because everyone's rushing to get there straight away. Wait. What do you mean, who is under the table? I was pretending to be asleep. And also, I think the HUD and the main menu where you go around and select stuff, it just looks like you're playing a mobile game like Mafia City or something like that. And then the heroes, right? The heroes are some of the most forgettable characters I've ever seen. I get it. This is me saying it. I have very specific prerequisites. Usually, I don't like when you can see a human character's face because I'm incredibly autistic. I'd much prefer them to be some kind of space alien, or they just have like a night helmet on or something like that. But the characters here just seem to be so uninspired, so forgettable. I mean, it checks all the boxes. I mean, you've got like, you know, the white guy, you've got the black woman, but they just don't really feel like they add anything to the game, like personality wise. Let's try slideshow. I never back down, and I always get back up. I never back down and I always get back. What in the Nick A30 is that line, brother? Also, I do have a gaming channel as well where I put more gaming related content, less commentary drama slop. That'll be a link in the description as well. And it also has hilarious laugh out loud moments like this. Okay, come on. And also, if you look at the game and look at the HUD, for example, it's just Apex Legends. This is basically Apex with a new coat of paint. But the worst thing about it is, at the minute when the game's been released, it's a 3v3, and it has this huge open map that takes you basically ages to get anywhere. Thankfully, you do have mounts to, you know, traverse across the map quicker. But in between objectives, all you're basically doing is going across, like, you know, fields, pretty vapid, boring areas. Maybe you'll do a little cool jumps with the horse. You will then then stop at certain points to loot chests. Blue chests usually have like gear, like a saddle to make your horse faster, or armor, for example, so you can take more hits. Again, exactly like Apex. And then red chests, which usually have weapons in them. And again, it's like Apex. You've got tiers of weapons. You've got, you know, the white weapons, which are basic, blue is uncommon, purple's rare, and then orange is basically the gold scar in Fortnite. But again, it's like, you know, the weapons you find, all they basically do is just like your reload speed is slightly quicker, or, oh wow, now you can change to your other weapons slightly quicker. It's so boring. The only saving grace is the last rank, the orange rank, which you basically get at the very end of the game when, you know, everyone's spending the last of their cash, is they'll have some sort of permanent effects. Like, for example, the AK might fire slower but hit harder, or the sniper rifle, which is like a 5-shot bolt action rifle, now turns into like a 12-round magazine semi-auto rifle. And yeah, I mean, cool. You've got like a little modifier. You put like a bump stock on the gun, but like it's, you know, again, it's not really changing the gameplay that much, and you're only really going to be able to enjoy the orange weapons at the last quarter of each game. That is, of course, if your mates don't disconnect, and then the game only lasts 4 minutes. Apart from the chests as well, you find these gems, which you basically mine, and then you go to a trader and you use them to buy, like, you know, grenades, armor, weapons. It's all very basic. It's not reinventing the wheel. It didn't have to, but again, it just doesn't feel original whatsoever. Now, again, I don't want to give Jeff Keighley any hate here, right? I really do like the guy. You know, I think he's doing great with the Game Awards. He does kind of need to hop off Hideo Kojima's just a little bit, I think. But, you know, at the same time, he obviously wants what's best for the gaming industry, as long as you pay like millions of dollars to get an ad spot during the Game Awards. But I became so jaded and so bitter during my time playing this game that I basically just started to mock Jeff Keighley, because I saw so many streamers were basically being paid to promote this game, or they had drops enabled. I obviously wasn't one of them, but I LARPed like I was.
Sure.
What? It's an ad, guys. Look, they're paying me. They're paying me to play the Jeff Keighley clip.
Previously, I think that the most
the stream is sponsored by Doritos.
From a new developer, so it's not from Bungie.
Now, I did say the game is a hero shooter. Obviously, you've got multiple characters you can pick from. You've seen them all before in many other games. Like, for example, you've got Atticus, and he's basically a lightning character. He can throw spears to kind of push people outside of cover, because it has an AoE that kind of tickles you to death. You'd probably survive it, but it's best to go out of cover, therefore exposing you. Condor, actually, she had pretty good abilities. She was basically a spotter, so she'd use like an eagle that goes up in the air and would snitch on enemies. Again, it's basically the exact same mechanic that was used in 6 Siege. Like, I'm not joking here. It is a complete one-to-one knockoff of Lion from 6 Siege. In Siege, he had a drone that was like up in the air. You couldn't shoot it down or anything like that. It was just kind of part of the environment. But he could use a scan that would count down, and you would have to stand still. It was almost like, you know, red light, green light from a Squid Game or something. And if you moved, your position would be revealed, which basically gives you away, and that is really bad, especially in Siege. In this game, because the maps are so open, it's not really that bad, you know, unless you're at like a choke point. You can kind of just get on a mount and then ride away anyway. And also, one thing I do want to talk about when spotting enemies, the sound design here is horrendous. Obviously, the maps are enormous, and usually you try to use sound to try to locate enemies. This is really important in games like 6 Siege, CSGO, Valorant. That's why when it's tight, there's only a couple enemies left, a couple players on the board, you'll start to walk or crouch walk, right? So, you know, you don't make any noise, and that is still a tactic used in this game. The problem is, compared to Siege, compared to Valorant, compared to CSGO, these maps are enormous. So what did they do in the sound design department? They made the footsteps sound like they're right next to you, when in reality, the guy is about 800 meters away. They sound so much closer than they actually are. So they've made the choice that you don't actually ever hear friendly characters. If a character is riding on a horse or running around, you don't hear their footsteps ever, but you will hear enemies' footsteps. So you instantly know, okay, this is a bad guy coming towards me. But it always sounds so off. Look, I've got some like Arctis Nova Pro wireless headphones. They're like a couple $100. These are not like professional headphones or anything. They kind of do the job well. They've helped me like Siege, CS. But in this game, you'll need like a pair of like Bero Dynamics DT1990s, which which are like sometimes, you know, $5,000 just to be able to pinpoint where the enemies are, because the sound mixing is so awful. You'll think someone is right next to you when in reality, they're like halfway across the map. And obviously as well, this is a hero shooter. They have ultimate abilities. I'm not going to go over all of them because I don't really care. But Condor's was comedic because her ultimate is you turn into a bird, or you control a bird, and you get like eye in the sky kind of thing. And then you can launch smoke bombs to basically disorientate enemies and also, you know, strategically plan ahead with your team. Maybe block off a choke point. If there's a sniper, you can like smoke them out to kind of push to the objective. That sounds great. Although if you compare the smoke effect of Condor's ult and then Omen from Valorant, who is like the only cool looking character in that game, by the way, absolutely no bias there whatsoever, they look exactly the same. One's just dark purple and then the other's blue. Okay, a little bit of a tangent here. I really do hate Omen's character in Valorant because I think it is such a cool character design, even though he kind of looks like, you know, monster blue can on his face. Because every time I see a character like that, I would think to myself, okay, he would fit in a much better game, and that's called Dishonored. There was also Redmayne, who's like the kind of like aggressive barbarian character. He could like, you know, jump ahead, do this kind of like leopard pounce thing, and then his ult, he could destroy loads and loads of objects at an enemy base, just causing a lot of chaos. Really inoffensive, probably the highest pick that most people are going to have. And then there is Kai, who is one of the most trash characters I've ever seen in a video game. Basically, he just looks like the monkey you play in Black Myth Wukong. So Kai can basically conjure up a wall made of ice to block enemies. Guess who else conjures up a wall to block enemies? Sage in Valorant. Again, it is just a one-to-one stolen ability. I'm very sure that Valorant did not invent the concept of that, by the way. It's probably been in like loads of MOBAs or other kinds of games. But again, it's just constant recycling. I guess like in this version, Kai can actually push the wall forward very slowly. And I'm talking comedically slow, like that scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender where you get like 5 earthbenders just to move a boulder that's moving like 1 kilometer an hour. Now, the reason I'm talking about Kai is his ult. He has an ult called Frost Giant where, you know, he transforms himself, becomes this huge beast, and you'd think, this is sick. I'm going to be able to dominate the entire team because, you know, the way the ults charge, you're only really going to be able to use this probably once, maybe twice in a game if you're sweating. But his ult is absolutely terrible because you move so slowly, enemies can basically out-sprint you, so you'll just end up pathetically chasing players, and they can't really do anything because you can pull up a shield like Reinhardt, so it just turns into like a Benny Hill bit where they're just running away from you constantly. Oh, dude, look how slow he is. What is this shit? There was Scarlet as well, who is the stealth character in the game, which sounds really, really overpowered, especially in a game where you're listening for audio cues. The problem is her stealth abilities suck. So it says that she's got a sandstorm, which puts her in stealth mode and makes herself hidden from enemies. You need to read the small print. It doesn't say hidden from enemies. It says hidden from enemies far away. Again, if you use the ability, you'll be able to see her cloak kind of shimmering. So it's just useless. You will be able to spot her, and it's incredibly easy to kill her. You also had Mara as well. Mara was actually one of my favorite characters because her abilities are absolutely so brain dead. Anyone could play as her. All you basically do is press Q occasionally to throw a little orb to someone to slightly overheal them a little bit. And also her ultimate is to make a spawn point. A spawn point that I tried to use on stream, but apparently I couldn't even seem to use it for some reason.
Dark spawn summoned. End it and we're
Can't I spawn there? Oh, I can.
picking up some baddies.
Yeah, can I spawn? Yeah? How do I spawn? Hello?
Looking for movement.
There.
Picking
Spawn there. Okay, I guess not, sure. There's Una as well, who is one of the characters that I mained, mostly because you can't see her face. Yes, I understand. I have a deep psychological problem. And she would basically summon these little wisps that would, like, just bully enemies throwing concussion grenades. But again, they're so obvious that unless an enemy's rushing, they're not really going to be able to do anything in the first place. They are a great distraction, though. And then her ultimate, I'm not sure whether I was using it wrong. Probably. But I used her ultimate a couple of times, and it never works. Basically, it spawns this tree that is, I didn't know until afterwards, completely stationary, and he's apparently meant to throw smaller explosive spirits at enemies. Again, like a distraction. From my experience, he never did that. He just spins around on the monstrosity.
too long. And the only true justice was to let those dominant jackals feed on you, survive off you.
Good day, friend. I have another bounty for you. All our clients need is evidence of the kill. Employ any method you wish.
Many of you may meet someone in your life you could consider your best friend. They're always there for you, a shoulder to cry on, and maybe you even support each other. They might be going through a breakup, you might be going through a breakup, and they're always there to hear you out, talk to you, give you a new perspective, and just be a good friend. Now, you may have heard that some situations with a best friend don't go too well. There could be an argument. Sometimes you get over it, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes it festers, and then best friends become worst enemies. That's a very common tale, and most people in current year deal with that by posting really sad, edgy edits on IG Reels, usually with a character with their hood up, crying or something cringe like that. But what I wanted to look at is when you have truly the worst best friend in history, and not on purpose, not an argument, but completely on accident. A friend that thinks they're helping and just makes the situation so much worse. And you also might know that right now I'm in Australia. My sleep pattern is absolutely whacked. I'm still trying to adhere to EU times, kind of. I mean, I got up at 2 in the morning today, and I've basically just stayed up, and I'm recording this video now at 7:45 in the morning. I don't know if I'm going to sleep, but usually when I try and sleep, I just end up scrolling TikTok anyway. But the point is, I'm in Australia. Very nice country, very weird country. There's definitely a huge amount of people with certain drug issues here as well. But the reason why I bring that up is because there was a news story that was going around a lot recently in Melbourne, Australia, and there was this video of a little scuffle, a little bit of a disagreement outside of a gentleman's club. If you don't know what a gentleman's club is, imagine VR chat, but instead of it being weebs and furries, it's normal humans. I know. As a parasitical viewer, that thought is absolutely terrifying. I totally understand. Now, this incident took place outside of Showgirls Bar 20 on King Street, which is this like notorious nightlife club in Melbourne. Now, this clip went viral after 7 News Melbourne posted a clip on Twitter, which got over 24 million views. And it also got 4 million Facebook views. You know, if any of you are watching me and you're over the age of 60, you still use Facebook for some reason. Now, this footage shows a group of men and they're having a physical altercation with the venue security. Now, this happens a lot. You know, you might have had too much to drink. Maybe the doorman has an ego problem, which a lot of them definitely do. I will get into that in a little bit. But then one of the friends who gets kicked out of the club, he goes to a cafe nearby, picks up a chair, and then launches it at the bouncer to try and, you know, protect his friend. Got to make sure he's okay, right? You know, I got to be the one that throws the first stone for my bro. Only the problem is the chair completely missed the doorman and hit his mate on the back of his head, basically doing the equivalent of a wall bang. Look, I don't like to laugh at people when they're down. I think it's really wrong to do that. But I do not know how much of a terrible friend you are that you hit the guy right on his Norwood. Look at that. Like, look at that bald spot. The fact that the big question on everyone's minds today is the new Breaking Bad show a zoonotic transfer between a bat eating a banana, the banana falls on the floor, and then the pig eats it. Because that's how most viruses are made. It's cross-contamination between two animals that should have not been interacting with each other. Now, one thing I do love, it shows like a...
Invoked is when there are some villains looking to murder him. Literally slit his throat on the street and spill his blood to our dismay. This is a hero that every normal person should be celebrating. It's like Moomin Rider from One Punch Man. Might not be the star of the show everyone's talking about, but it's someone that everyone should support, except for the bad guys. This character's name is Section 230. I got a little lost in...
Great, honey. You're driving around like that. That's nice. What the fuck does that mean? That's nice. And is that a top hat?
What the fuck does that mean?
Why is there a top hat in the middle of the street? Guys are recycling. Oh no, it's one of those neighborhoods. No, you drop it off at the place, they give you money. What the f is that laying in the street?
The fuck? Dude, that my day up, I'm not kidding.
CLI already got a welcome to the jungle. Can you welcome the next person that asks?
Okay.
Aga.
Yo, what the f is that? Yo, is that my editor who posted? What the f?
I made
oh my god, I can't. Okay, and no more than enough for the day.
Since season 4.
That's it, chat. You guys, we all hit the quota. No more than enough for the day. Good job, man. Well done. In the free Good the Trouble DLC.
Eating popcorn.
Oh my, yo, I'm actually done. I'm generally done for the day. Oh my god, bro. But why though? I don't get it. Guys, what are these posts, man?
How you doing?
How are you doing, officer?
I'm fine. I'm Sergeant
Why are you
Ross
guys
Swiss.
pulling this over?
What?
Why are you guys pulling this over?
Because this vehicle...
What stop sign?
Huh?
What stop sign?
I didn't say a stop sign.
What stop sign? Stop sign.
I never said the word stop sign. You did. Did you run a stop sign? Is that why you're saying stop sign?
What stop sign?
Okay. Okay. How you
The
doing?
debunker is never wrong.
I'm fine.
He only has
Sergeant
W.
Why are you guys
Swiss.
pulling this over?
W debunks.
True.
W ideas.
True.
I love the debunker.
True.
Brother, you're a fake bald-headed Rasta. I see you eat pork all the time. Real Batman a swine and dine. You tell me you can't even eat pigeon one time? Whoa, that was a bar, Hikey.
That was a low-down, sinful, dirty chat. But
Not funny. I didn't laugh.
Bunch of scraps!
Stop with this shit.
I'm not Jeffrey Epstein.
Is it better to be feared?
Guys, why are these videos a thing here?
Is it too much to ask for both? The truth is, I am Island Man. Epstein! We need a plan of attack.
I have a plan, Charlie. Attack.
Two reasons I don't give money to homeless people. One, they're gonna spend it on drugs and alcohol. Two, I want to spend it on drugs and alcohol. Two reasons I don't give money to homeless people. One, they're gonna spend it on drugs and alcohol.
It's fair enough.
What the frick?
That's fair enough.
What the actual frick am I, bro? What? I'm coming for you. Every single one of y'all in the stream right now. And you know you type straight in the chat, and you know you've been trolling in the stream, what you guys created. This is all for you guys. Do not go to sleep tonight. I am coming for you. And I'm not playing. Don't go to sleep tonight.
Jesus. Okay.
Last one running wins. All right, let's do it.
Guys,
How do you guys feel it?
don't just what I went out is that I didn't want to get hurt by somebody.
Mr. Cal PLS, can I get...
That's my shoulder. He's blocking me. That's my shoulder. Boy, I don't think I'm in this video. Hold on.
Bye.
They cut me out. Yeah, this video, I'm not kidding you. This experience actually changed my perspective on physics. Like, it genuinely. Like, I know you can assume that you know how this works, whatever, but until you've done it, like, I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling. You would never think that it would hit this hard, since it's just, you're just running on it. Like, it f***s your shit up. No, I don't think you understand it. Your whole body recoils. It's not just a treadmill. It's not just a tread. Oh man, this guy just said I doesn't get it. It's all good, whatever.
XQCL.
Guys, listen, I know this is a treadmill, but I don't think you run on a big treadmill like your whole body hits it. When the whole body hits the ground, one, the body is stretching because the stretch of the thing rang. The whole body and all your components slam against it immediately, and then your brain wobbles in your head. Man,
Last one running.
wait, where am I? Guys, I got scared.
Can I get a welcome to the
and I
jungle,
went
Mr.
out of the
X?
way because yes, I didn't want to get crushed. Yo, guys, he ended up crushing me. I'm not. Yo, you can see the video. He ended up cribbing like a wrecking ball.
Hey, that's my shoulder. What? Right there. My fucking shoulder. They cut me from the picture. They just cut me from the fucking picture. They can't cut me out. Hey, that's my shoulder.
XQC, happy 4 years.
Right
Can I get
there.
a welcome to the jungle?
It's my fucking shoulder.
This one?
You know, is this yellow line?
Look! 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 Bang! Brother, he weighs like 300 pounds!
Thank you, Juicer and chat, for always being there. We are all gonna make it right, XQCL.
What? Chat, what is going on with that?
Huh?
Yo! What the? Yo. Okay. Why are the links so diabolical today? Jesus. Chad, do you guys know what that is? I mean, he is a Chad. I know it will break my heart and make me lose trust in humanity if it came out with some bad thing about him in the future somehow. He's one of the, I think he's one of the big, like, let's say CEO or big corporate people that has the public on his side. All right.
I brought this portrait of Kim Jong-un, and if I did him, I brought this portrait of Kim Jong-un.
All right. Okay. So, yo.